Welcome to learning how to sew a toy ball. I'm super excited for this particular freebie because it's so fun. It has so many uses and it's so great for so many ages of kids. My kids are 8 and 10. They still love it, and they would have loved it when they were 1 or 2 just to check around the house. The ball comes in 4 sizes. I'm sewing the second smallest, so not the very smallest, but the next one. It comes from snowball size, which is about that, and then it goes up until a ball about that big. Maybe a little smaller than that, but it's super fun. You're gonna need, I use my rotary cutter to cut this out. Super easy. I just laid 4 layers of fabric down and made 1 cut. So simple. You can see it's not perfect, but you're gonna stuff it with lots of stuffing. So please don't hold yourself to perfection because it's not an attainable standard. But we're gonna stuff it with stuffing afterwards. You're also gonna need a needle and thread for hand sewing the little final hole when we're done. Okay, let's get started. The first step is to take 2 pieces and we are gonna put them together like this. If you need to or want to, you can go ahead and pin or clip one side together. I'm just gonna pin or clip it right here. If you want, you can do all the way across. We're just gonna pin, or we're just gonna sew this one side, and we're using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I'm gonna go do that and then I'll be right back. All right, it's a bit difficult to see, but maybe if I bring it up, you can see that the stitching there. It is sewn right along here with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now you could add 1 piece and then the next piece, but what I prefer to do is to repeat this exact step. So I'm going to take these other 2 pieces, move that one out of the way, like that. These ones match up a little better. And then we're just going to sew right along here. So then we're going to have 2 halves of the ball and we will attach the 2 halves. So I'm going to go sew this and then I will be right back to show you how we're going to attach the 2 halves. Okay, so now both of our halves are sewn along here and along here. So now all I have to do, actually does it matter? Probably not. Oh, there, that's better. Okay. All we're gonna do is open up 1 half and then open up the other half like that. And we're just gonna match up the seams here at the bottom. That, and we'll go to the top and we will match those seams up. I like to turn the seam allowances opposite ways. It makes it less bulky. It also kind of helps it hold more sturdy, but that's totally optional and up to you. And then I'm gonna clip this one together there. And then on this side, we're gonna need to leave a hole because we're gonna have to put our stuffing, right? So I'm going to, there we go, need 1 more clip. For that, I usually like to mark where my hole is gonna be. So I usually use 2 clips and I just mark there that that's gonna be my hole right here. And that's where I'll stop stitching. And it's important to remember while you're doing this that you do need to backstitch. We're just using a plain sewing machine. And it's important to backstitch so your stitches don't fall out. All right, let's go sew this. And you don't actually have to do down one side and down the other. I usually start from here. I'll lay this as flat as it can get. Excuse my heavy breathing. I just had a lot of coffee. Okay, we're gonna do this around here and then stop here. And then we're gonna turn it out and stuff it. It's gonna be so awesome. All right, I'm gonna go sew and then I'll be right back. All right, our ball is all sewn together. Here's the little opening, right? And now all we have to do is turn it out. So you just start kind of poking the fabric through the little hole. Sometimes you have to finesse it a little bit. With a thing this small and with nice thin fabric, it's not super difficult and it just pops itself out. Just like that. Oh, look at those seams matching. So beautiful. I love it when they all meet right there at the corner. It makes me very happy. Okay, so now our ball is all turned out. It's a little deflated, right? So we're gonna need to stuff it. Okay, so let's get some stuffing and then come back here and we will stuff it. Okay, we're ready. This is the stuffing I have. It's just fiber fill. You can really use anything you want to stuff these. I have tried to use, you just take it and shove it in the hole. There's really not like a super technical way to stuff. We'll go back through later and maybe try to even it out a little bit. I just use, I actually use a screwdriver for that. Again, not exactly technical. But we're just gonna stuff fluff in there. I don't recommend using scraps because they will make your snowballs really, really heavy. And they will potentially hurt somebody. So let's not do that. You could do maybe like a half and half, or if you had like some lighter weight scraps, that would work. But I would not recommend using like scraps from sewing, just because we don't want to, you know, give anybody a concussion with their snowball. So let's not do that. I accidentally, well, not accidentally, my daughter wanted to learn to sew a couple years ago. And so she wanted to make this little pillow. So I was helping her make a pillow, and then I told her she could stuff it with sewing scraps. And that was the densest pillow. It felt like laying on cement. It was horrible. Do not make a pillow like that. It was not good. All right, let's keep going. We want to kind of stuff these like to the max. To the max, because we want to really fill out that shape. I'll probably get a little bit more in there. See how nice it is? Oh, I'm so excited. My kids are going to love these. They're probably going to be hidden all over the house, but it'll be super fun. I have every variety. I have like multiples of every variety. So it'll be like, I don't know, maybe they'll even, you know, it'd be fun is if I put some Velcro on. There's so many things you can do with these. Listen, you could even make like little snowman decorations if you put like a little bit of Velcro, or if they wanted to be permanent, you could do hot glue. But if you wanted to do like snowman building, you could just put like little Velcro here and then do it on the other ones too. And then they could like do a large and then a small and then another smaller one. It would be so fun. That would be so fun. Now I want to do that. All right. So I think that's about as stuffed as I want it. And then I just sort of like work it and squish it until it's in the shape that I want. Because some of the, see, it's not exactly how I want it, but it's okay. So the next step is going to be to close up this little seam here. So I'm going to go get my needle and thread, and you meet me back right here. Okie dokie, we are ready to stitch up. Here's my needle with my thread, ready to stitch it up. So the first thing you need to do is make a knot here at the end of your thread so it won't pull through. It's hard to see. There you go. All right. So then I just take my needle and I bring it under the flap. You can see the flap there. I'm going to put my first stitch right behind where I want my seam allowance to, or where my seam allowance is. So kind of right in this corner, but back a little more so that it doesn't start its own little thing. And then pull it out, and then that will hide that knot. Okay, now for the rest of the stitches, we are going to come right in here, right on the corner, just like that, where the fold is, where your seam allowance would be, and just pull it through. You can do a couple of these at a time. Essentially, you're just sort of lacing this shut. I am not super good at hand stitching, as you may be noticing right now, but it's an acquired skill and it's not one that I do very often, so that's fine. Like we said before, perfection is not an attainable standard. So I'm also not going to hold myself to that. Hang on one second. Let me think what I want to do, because it's so stuffed, which is great, but to get this a little easier so it holds, we'll do that. Put a little clip right there. And then we're just gonna come here and go back and forth. Just like that. Sorry if you can't see that, I'll do one more. I keep kind of tilting off the camera there. Go to that side. I would not be a good surgeon, right? I would not. I'm sure some of your stitching here is gonna look much cleaner than mine. Because mine is just not fabulous. But it is what it is. It's gonna be a functional ball. It's gonna stay closed. All right, so I'm gonna finish sewing this and then I'll show you what it looks like in the end. And it's all done. Totally finished. This is where my stitching was. It's not that bad. And with more use and stuff, it'll sort of even out, and you can keep squishing and playing with it and trying to even it out a little bit. But ultimately, it's a super fun ball. You could even use 4 different fabrics, so many things. And if you made the smallest version, you could even put some, what are they called, the little polyfill beads in it and make like little pattern weights if you still use printed patterns. So many uses for these. They're so fun. I hope that you make a ton of them and have a great indoor snowball fight with your family.